Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our TMYK live stream. Shout out to StreamYard for giving us the technology to do this, to be broadcasting this wonderful podcast for you people, either here on Facebook, on X, or later on our YouTube channel. You are joining us here on this first part for what we like to call Balls and Brew, the flagship sports podcast here on the Morgan Podcasting Network. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as your affable host. Joining me is the executive producer of this and every other podcast here on the TMYK Network. He's also a host of a very popular wrestling program here. His name, James Thomas Jamriska. Jimmy, hello.
We are apparently pro Pepsi on this podcast as well. We are excited to be here. A little something different this week, Rod. I'm not hosting. We're doing some balls and brew that may not all be basketball related. This is exciting.
It has been a little while. You're right. We've been leaning heavily on your fast break skills in our basketball talk most recently, but Balls and Brew is going to start rounding into our normal regular season mode. Our guy Josh Williams is going to be back on soon. We're going to be chopping up football. That's going to be wonderful. So that will be happening soon. But this week, I've got a couple fun little games cooked up for us. We've had a few long days in America. All right. This really isn't the podcast for any of that, but it's been some long days here in America. So let's all just have some fun tonight. So to help us have fun is a man who's been on this planet longer than Jimmy or I having fun. He's been all around the globe. He's had numerous different jobs. Now he's back here in the Hoosier State before he again takes off to go to Anchorage, Alaska, or Bangladesh. You never know with him. It's our guy, the old man, Chris King. Chris, hello.
What is up, gentlemen? This is going to be exciting. We're not going to talk about basketball. It's going to be a little bit strange. We got Olympics coming up. There's some basketball there. Maybe we'll still be able to keep it in here. All right. Maybe we can still do an Olympic fast break.
There we go. That's up to the host of the fast break, what we talk about in the fast break. But I, speaking of hosts, see what I did there? Have two games cooked up for the fellas tonight. Okay. I will not be participating in the games. I will be hosting the games. All right. We have the Olympics coming up next week. I have a fun game cooked up about that. We will play second. But first up, we will celebrate something that is celebrating itself tonight. We record this during the All-Star Game, the Midsummer Classic for Major League Baseball. When I was a kid, I loved nothing more than watching the All-Star Game intros, because as a kid, you couldn't see a lot of the American League teams. You just saw who played the Cubs, or occasionally you saw a few games on NBC where it was like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets. So to be able to see guys that I had baseball cards for was my favorite thing. Jimmy, tell me I'm not crazy here. You loved All-Star Game intros as a kid. I know you did.
It was fantastic. You got to see everybody in their uniform. Oh yeah, we get to see Derek Jeter play now. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it was a wonderful time because we weren't blessed or cursed with having interleague play like we do now.
I like how you say blessed or cursed. Hell, Chris, you saw the All-Star Game go from being on the radio to then being on television. So I'm sure the All-Star Game has been a big part of your life.
There are definitely times that I miss those old radio calls during the All-Star Game, or even the TV announcers when we got into the color TV era for these All-Star games. But you're not wrong. Like first being able to see a Ken Griffey Jr., right? When he's playing in Seattle, we don't see those games. I'll use Seattle again for Alex Rodriguez when he first came into the league. Ichiro Suzuki, all right? We didn't get to see those guys unless it was on the All-Star Game back then. We didn't have social media, YouTube clips. ESPN wasn't what it is now, so you didn't get to see these guys. So All-Star games were way more important then.
Jim, don't you love how the guy who always brings up Shohei Ohtani whenever we talk about baseball managed to work in Ichiro there, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like Chris must have just saw that Tom Selleck Mr. Baseball movie too many times at one point in his life, and Japanese baseball is just seared in forever.
First of all, Mr. Baseball is an unbelievably underrated movie in general.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I thought that was really funny. And by the way, Rod, we're so old. The Oakland A's were good when we were kids. Think about that for a second.
Dennis Eckersley.
The Eck, what a great mustache. What a great mustache. Spals Keens for the Pirates starting this year. Speaking of mustaches, look at what I did there. But I'm going to take a shot at you guys a little bit, as I'm prone to do. Folks that listen here on the network often, they know that I like to do that. I like to pat myself on the back, and I like to prod at my two guys. I catch a lot of flack for not watching baseball. So this game I cooked up is going to test you two jokers' knowledge about baseball here, because I'm not going to say that you guys paint yourselves as Mr. Seamheads checking out baseball tonight and checking up on Buster Olney's notes every week, right? But you guys do get mad at me for not liking baseball. So therefore it would make sense to say you should be able to answer some questions about the first half of the season. Chris, do you think?
That is a fair assessment, Ron. Let's see how well we do.
All right, Jimmy, I will start with you.
Gonna lose.
Okay. I will start with you. Now, listen, I'm not going to be asking you gentlemen for numbers here. Okay. We're not going to be getting stat head. Give me the actual number. I'm simply looking for a player's name or a team name. Okay.
Oh,
I can't
God.
make it any more simple for you guys here. I can't make it any more simple for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is good.
Jimmy, you get the first question. I'll even let you. Do you want a question about players or do you want a question about team? You can even pick that.
The funnier one will be players. Let's give me players.
Okay, Jimmy, who currently at the All-Star break leads Major League Baseball in earned run average? What is the pitcher's name?
Is there a pitcher in Major League Baseball that I know is the question? That is the question. All right, I am going to go.
Jimmy, you think for a second, and I'm going to vamp while speaking to Chris, right? Chris, the reason I ask this is because you and I, okay, Jimmy, keep your fingers up, though. We don't want to see you typing anything into the keyboard. Chris, you and I at one point in our lives would have definitely known, right, if a Tom Glavine, if a Roger Clemens, if a name the great starting pitcher, right, had a great low ERA. So this is a fair question to ask, is it not?
No, it's a fair question. I will say, though, it's definitely harder now than it was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, or in my case, 30 years ago, where you had more continuity with teams. Tom Glavine was on the Braves for a decade. You know, Greg Maddux, Smoltz. Those were all guys on the Braves for a decade, you know. Dennis Eckersley was on the A's for a long time. Randy Johnson was on the Mariners for a long time. Roger Clemens pitched for Boston for a long time before he pitched for the Yankees for a long time. You don't have that anymore. Guys are switching teams every 2, 3, 4 years, and it's hard to keep track. Guys get moved from middle relief to start, back to closer to setup. So, there's a lot of moving parts in pitching nowadays.
Jimmy, Chris just gave you a bunch of time to think, and he just gave you a complete out if you get this wrong. So your answer for best ERA at the All-Star break, the player's name, not the ERA. I'll give you the ERA. You tell me the player's name. I'll give you the ERA right now. His ERA is 1.88.
It's not Wheeler. I'm going to go Aaron Nola. I don't think it is, but Aaron Nola.
Aaron Nola will come up in another category when we're talking pitchers, but that is not the answer. Chris, you can steal from Jimmy here. 188, the lowest ERA in baseball, belongs to
Snell.
No, it is not Snell. It is Dexnaldo Lopez of the Atlanta Braves, clocking in at 188, followed by Tariq Skubal from Detroit, Corbin Burns, Baltimore Orioles, Seth Lugo, Philadelphia, Tanner Houck, Boston. Those are your top 5 ERAs at the All-Star break.
I knew 2 of them.
So there we are, 0-0 after the first question. It went to Jimmy. Jimmy, to you. There you go. Chris, to you. Do you want a team or player question?
Ooh, I better take team.
Chris wants to go with the team. Okay, Chris, here we go. Right now, currently, who is leading the AL West? Right now, who is currently leading the AL West?
The AL West would be led by the Astros.
No, it is not the Astros. Jimmy, you have a chance to steal. Who is leading the LA West?
Loser. I have no idea either, Chris. I'm sorry.
Well, come on, Jimmy. You at least know
it's Oakland.
It's
Oakland.
It's
definitely not
Seattle.
Oakland.
Seattle.
It is Seattle. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jim Risco with the steal. Jimmy with the steal. All right.
I've done nothing but talk about Seattle.
I know
already, and I can't get that.
No,
I was really hoping you were going to go AL East. I knew that. I was really
the
hoping you were
Astros
going to
are
go
really
AL East.
low, but then they've been coming
The
back.
Astros are 50 and 46, and the Mariners are 52 and 46. So same amount of losses, just Seattle has 2 more wins. So you almost got it there on a technicality, Chris, but Jimmy got you with the Mariners. All right, Jimmy, we're going to stay with team on you since I asked you player last time.
Sure.
Jimmy, I ask you, who leads the AL Central?
Oh, Indians. Guardians.
The Guardians. I was about to say you are not correct and give Chris the chance to steal, but you changed yourself at the last minute. That is correct, Chris. The Guardians lead the AL Central. Chris, I'll give you bonus points if you can tell me the Guardians' record right now at the All-Star break.
55 and 41.
No, 58 and 37. Not a bad guess, though. Not a bad guess. All right, Chris, you had team last time, so you will get a player question. Chris, your player question is, who has the highest batting average in all of Major League Baseball at the All-Star break? Chris, the player's name.
Oh, crap. I can't remember who it was.
Chris, you vamp and I will talk to Jimmy like I did for a second. Jimmy, again, this is a fair question to ask, right? I mean, Tony Gwynn, right? Chris mentioned Ichiro. There were many guys that if they were leading at the All-Star break, we would have known their average, correct?
Oh, of course we would have. That would be one of the big ones. The home runs would be big. ERA, RBI, all of those we would know, and we would know pretty religiously going into the All-Star break for sure. Right now, of the ERA of the pitchers, those aren't really household names, most of them. So
Definitely
that's pretty
not.
tough. And I have a guess. I don't think it's right. I think I'm close.
All right,
I do
we'll
have
come
a
to you
guess
for the
this.
steal if Chris doesn't have his answer. Chris, your answer for the leading average in Major League Baseball, whose current average sits at
312.
No, way higher than that. 352.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's the second year kid that plays either in Milwaukee or someplace like that. But I want to say Shohei Ohtani for my answer because he's my favorite player.
Ohtani is 4th, and you were close with his batting average at 312. Ohtani is batting 316 right now, and he is 4th. Jimmy, your chance to steal.
Is it Bobby Witt Jr.?
Bobby Witt Jr. is 3rd, batting 323. The winner, your Tony Gwynn, if you will, of Major League Baseball now at a stout 352. Okay, again, Tony Gwynn almost hit 400 once and was always constantly at 380 at least. This guy's at 352, but it is a Stephen Kwan from Jimmy's Guardians is the leading batting average man in Major League Baseball, followed by Christian Yelich, a guy who I actually know, who I remember seeing play baseball against the Chicago Cubs. So Christian Yelich,
many
shout
years
out
ago.
to you. I know you. All right, Jimmy, do I need to ask you a team or a player question? Which of you've answered more?
Let's go. I think player. I think as I haven't. I'll go player because.
Yep. Okay, Jimmy. Here we go. You mentioned it before. RBIs. Who leads Major League Baseball in RBIs at the All-Star break?
Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson does not lead Major League Baseball in RBIs at the All-Star break. Chris, your chance to steal.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge does lead Major League Baseball.
Oh, that was my other guess.
Chris just tied it at 1. Aaron Judge leads Major League Baseball with 85 RBIs.
Insane.
Followed by Jimmy, bonus points. Who's 2?
Bobby Witt Jr. I'm going to keep guessing.
Jr. Chris, can you go 2 for 2? Who's 2? Who's behind Aaron Judge?
No, I'm not going to be able to guess it.
You will.
From Jimmy's Guardians. And then, no, I'm not going to say who's 3rd in RBI because he's going to come up later. So there we go. Chris has tied it at 1-1. There we go. Stealing Jimmy off of RBIs. Chris, we'll go back to you. This is a team question. Chris, who leads the National League West?
National League West would be led by the Dodgers.
Correct. Chris takes a 2-1 lead. Jimmy, that might have been the easiest question on the board, but we had to, the NL West had to be asked as a question. So there it was. Jimmy, I'll go back to you for another team here, and then we'll go back to you for another player. Jimmy, who currently leads the National League East?
Oh, Braves.
No, Chris,
no,
it's not to steal. Chris, you have a chance to steal. Who leads the National League East?
The Phillies.
The Phillies lead the National League East with your current best record in baseball, Jimmy. The Phillies are the best team in baseball at 62-34. Chris is now up 3-2. Jimmy, you're in trouble. Let's go
Game's
to you
over.
with the player question. Jimmy, who leads Major League Baseball in wins? Pitching wins for a pitcher.
No,
He
I
has
know.
13. I'll give you the number. I was surprised that it was even this high. I even knew who this player was.
I got nothing. Chris Sale.
That is correct.
Is it Chris
Sale?
Sale?
Is
Oh, thank God.
correct. He has 13 wins for the Atlanta Braves, which I was completely floored by. I had no idea that the Sox had gotten rid of him. And I figured if the Sox got rid of him, he must not be good anymore. But clearly he still is, because I think he started the All-Star game tonight and he leads Major League Baseball in wins. So how about that? Chris, I've given Jimmy 2 pitching ones. I got to give you another pitching one. Who leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts?
The Aaron guy that we talked about earlier in this episode.
That is not correct. I don't know who
Okay.
you even mean, but that is also not correct. Jimmy, your chance to steal. Oh, I know who you meant, Chris. You meant Aaron Nola,
Aaron
who's
Nola.
actually
Yeah.
second in wins. But no, he's not. He's not your answer for K's.
Let's go with K's. Burns has been hurt.
I could not believe the team this guy played for.
You can't believe the team he played for.
Couldn't believe that this team had somebody who was at the top of anything.
Is it the pitcher from Detroit, Scooble?
It is not. Chris,
don't
your
know.
chance to and you didn't get so the answer is from your Chicago White Sox, Garrett Crochet with 150 Ks through the
Crochet
first of the year. Yes. Dylan Cease, another player who I know because I believe your Chicago Cubs traded him to the San Diego Padres for. Can either of you tell me what the Cubs have to show for dealing the man who has 149 Ks for the Padres?
Well, technically they traded Dylan Cease and Eloy Jimenez to the White Sox for your boy.
The pitcher.
I
It's the
hate him. I
pitcher,
hate
isn't
him.
it? It's the
Yeah,
pitcher
it's the
who was
pitcher.
terrible for 2 years,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
what a
yeah,
terrible
yeah.
trade. What a terrible trade. All right, Jimmy, we go back to you with, I believe we'll do this one as the final one. For
right.
I got 2 more I can do, I guess, real quick. Final. Home runs, Jimmy. Who leads Major League Baseball in home runs? at the
Aaron
All-Star
Judge.
break? Aaron Judge. Chris, I'll give you a chance to steal. What number does Aaron Judge have at the All-Star break?
home run number.
Yes.
I want to say 37.
No, 34.
Ooh, I was gonna go 38, Chris.
All right, let's do the final stat category. Jimmy, I'll come back to you. Or no, it's Chris to you. Who
Thank
leads
God.
Major League Baseball in steals?
Oh, give me a break.
De La Cruz.
That is correct. Jimmy, fine. You're so mad. How many's he got? And you can get bonus points.
26.
No, he's got 46. Try
46.
double.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But here's what I want to shout out. Chris, here's shout out to you, okay? Shohei, you're a boy. Number 2 right now in home run. Number 4 right now in RBI. Not in the top, not in the top 5 in RBI, excuse me, but number 4 in average, but then 4 in steals. I mean, so Chris, the question I have for you, okay? Here's the question I have for you about your boy Ohtani. Where would he be in this wins ERA case thing? Is he going to be in the top 5 of one of those? Or is he just, a good pitcher, but not quite that level?
I think for the Dodgers, he's definitely up there on wins. I don't know about ERA or Ks, but he's up there on wins because you got to think about how dominant he was as an Angel, and he had no run support ever. He would have run support in LA with the Dodgers.
Yeah. So you're saying we could see a scenario where Ohtani'd be in the top 5 in average home run RBIs and pitching wins. I mean, it would just be insane. So I get what you're saying about how Ohtani should capture people's hearts, but he doesn't. Jimmy, let's finish out with a couple of last baseball things here. Who leads the... I think we've done all of them, actually. Yeah, we've done all of them. So I just want to do this. Jimmy, here's the last question I'll ask you about baseball. If you're a Chicago White Sox, Florida Marlins, Oakland A's, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Washington Nationals, or Colorado Rocky fan, what are you even doing? You're an irrelevant team in a dying sport. Like, what is even the point in any of those 6 markets?
Maybe you like to be outside and you can just go outside for a little while, buy like a $15 ticket on StubHub right before the game starts. That's all you're doing because it's really kind of pathetic. White Sox and A's, I think, need to be put in a different category of patheticness because they're deliberately not doing anything and they don't care about it. It's pretty sad, Rod. And those are the types of fans that I think you can relate to a lot.
I think I got to take exception to how you guys are portraying the Oakland A's fans, because this is a fan base that has been stabbed in the back and they're getting their franchise taken away. How do you expect these fans to react? Like that they're losing their baseball team.
Yeah.
I'm not really going
So
after the
why
fans
And
here.
that
Chris.
wasn't
I'm just saying
bad. I
that-
wasn't mad at him. I was just
you
saying
just
we're
called them
relevant to us.
pathetic? You called them pathetic.
No,
said
no,
their
no, no.
teams are
The
pathetic.
teams are pathetic. The fan
But how
base
do you
is
even
no.
be a fan
No,
for
no,
one of
no.
these teams?
Okay, it came
Calm
off
down,
like you were
Chris.
calling. It came off like you were calling the fans pathetic. I wanted to
Those
make sure.
teams, by the way,
I wanted to make
Chris, if you
sure
had to
no
take a guess-
Oakland citizens
Sure.
were mad
We
at
get
the
a lot of-
Tmyk show.
We're big in the Bay Area. We're big in the Bay Area. We get huge numbers out there in the San Francisco, Oakland area. So thank you, Chris, for clearing that up. If you had to guess the odds that those 6 teams I just read for you have to win the World Series, what do you think they'd be?
Like the astronomical, like 10,000 to 1, 20,000 to
Worse, 50,000 to 1. Those 6 teams are that bad. They're at 50,000 to 1 odds. All right. And then I'm going to go up the charts for you to who they think will win the World Series. And we're going to close out baseball. All right. Your Pirates come in next at 30,000 to 1. Your Reds come in next at 20,000 to 1. And I want to point this out here. What makes that hilarious is those teams come in, even though they technically are higher in the standings than the Cubs, but the Cubs are further up that list because of all the money that comes in on the
Yep.
Cubs. Okay. The Blue Jays plus 15,000, your Giants plus 9,500, Rangers plus 8,000, Diamondbacks and Royals tied at plus 7,000, Mets Cardinals plus 5,000. Now we're starting to get into the teams that maybe have an outside shot. Your Padres, Red Sox, bet right now to win the World Series will gain you plus 4,000 odds. Brewers, Padres right now bet will gain you plus 2,500. Astros, Mariners plus 2,000. Now you're getting into where maybe you can make some money. If you want to bet on the Twins or Jimmy's Guardians, you're going to get plus 1,800 odds right now, right? If you want to bet on the Cubs or the Rays, you get plus 1,300. That's ridiculous. Again, as I mentioned, the Pirates and the Reds are higher than the Cubs in the standings, and they're at 20,000 and 30,000. So that just lets you know how inflated Cubs numbers are. Then we move on to the Braves. These are your 5 teams that really can win it. Braves plus 900, Orioles plus 700, Yankees plus 550, Phillies plus 420. And even though they don't have the best record in baseball, the Dodgers at plus 360, favored to win the World Series. Jimmy, closing baseball thoughts.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our Cubbies, who once again can't run, can't hit, can't throw. They had a very strong and very, very hard fought series with St. Louis to end the first half. It's been a very, very pathetic first half, I think, for the Cubs. The June swoon was real. It was really bad.
Now, Chris, what ended up being the final score of that game? Did you beat Jimmy? I kind of lost track of the score there at the end, but I feel like you were on top.
I think it was a tie, actually. I think we ended up being 4-4.
All right, but I think ultimately what we learned is that you guys really
know
aren't
nothing.
watching baseball either. So that's really the only reason I cooked up that game. So it just proves that none of us are watching baseball. Now let's move to a game that will move a little quicker, but I think will be a little bit more fun. Next Friday, opening ceremonies in the Seine River in France. Jimmy, will you be checking out the opening ceremonies? I, for one, always find the opening ceremonies fascinating. I still remember the opening ceremonies from Beijing. It was unlike something I'd ever seen before. Like, I always check out the opening ceremonies. Them coming down the river on barges sounds kind of cool to me.
I'll watch a little bit of it, but it goes pretty long and there's other things to do. So I'm not really that invested this year.
Chris, our resident hater, there's no way you're going to swoop in and say how magical the Olympics are. What do you got for me on Olympics opening ceremonies?
Oh, you cannot miss this opening ceremony, all right? For one, this is the first time in the history of modern Olympics that the opening ceremony is not going to be inside a stadium, okay? They are coming down the river. The river that which, if it rains too much, will be full of feces and all kinds of other excrement. So you guys might want to tune in and see what is floating in the river with the athletes. I think it's must watch and must see TV.
Damn it. I bring you in as the resident hater, figured you're going to trash it. You swoop me in with the bait of, no, I'm all about this. And it's only because you want to see shit floating up through the Seine River. Chris has seen the John Oliver show, or at least seen the segment on YouTube. That a boy. The game I have cooked up for the Olympics, and shout out to Google Gemini because they helped me here. Okay. I'm going to have 5 Actually, we'll do 10. We'll see. Maybe just 5. We'll see how much time we got. Okay. But I have a list of 10 fake Olympic sports generated by Google Gemini and 10 actual real Olympic sports. And I will just read one of them off to you two, and you guys have to tell me fake Olympic sport or real Olympic sport.
Are
Chris.
these for the current Olympics, or is this over the course of the modern Olympiad?
These are things that can be participated in. The real events that I will read to you all will be participated in this summer.
This isn't fair. Chris has been around for all the Olympics.
I understand, Jimmy. I understand, but
You're just mad because I actually used Olympiad.
Yeah, I'll point that's really true.
That
Jimmy, the TMYK lives though that our viewers are seeing right now, you created with AI. So your knowledge of AI might help you out here.
Ooh, yes. I typed in TMYK live colorful logo. Okay, let's go.
Jim, I'm trying to give you something. Why are you always knocking yourself down, Jimmy? All right. The object of us on this podcast is for people to want to tune in to hopefully hear us talk about something. And every opportunity I give for you to be an authority figure, Jimmy, you just undercut yourself. Come on.
Let's go. Well, I'm going to win this one.
There we go. All right.
I know bullshit when I hear it.
I will start with you, Jimmy. I will start with you because you are so confident. I will just read the name of the event, and you will tell me whether this is a real Olympic event or a AI generated Olympic event. Jimmy, mixed double table tennis, real or fake?
Mixed double table tennis. That's real.
That is correct. Jimmy on the board with 1. That is a real event.
Chris. In your face, Chris. In your face.
Let me cross off the one that I've already done here, so I don't want to mix up. All right, here we go. Chris, a real or fake event?
No pressure.
Mixed doubles curling.
Oh, that's real.
That is real. That is absolutely real. Now we're not going to see curling in the Summer Olympics, but I ran out. All right. I needed a 10th event that was actually real that sounded like it might not be real. So that's how curling made it in. But these other 9 will be in the Summer Olympics. Jimmy, real or fake event? Mountain bike biathlon.
Mountain bike biathlon. What else are you doing?
Real or fake Olympic event here on the TMYK show, hosted by me, Rod Sajak.
Let's go real.
That is not real. Jimmy does not score points on that one. That is a fake AI generated Olympic event. Chris, you're smiling at that one.
That's mountain biking and guns. Mountain biking and guns.
I love that Jimmy's like, yeah, they're letting people roll through the mountains and then fire off shots. All right, here we go. Chris, to you. Urban parkour slalom.
That's fake.
That is fake. That is fake. Chris is 2 for 2.
I love they're just throwing words in there. Okay, fine.
At least he's not including the new e-game Olympics that the IOC has codified into existence now.
Jimmy, smart guy. Yeah. Synchronized speed walking, real or fake Olympic event?
I want that to be real more than anything in the world. I really do. Fake.
It is fake. It is
Thank
fake.
God.
Jimmy 2 for 3. Jimmy,
yeah, let's go.
Chris,
like your biathlon.
Women's Keirin. Women's Keirin. Keirin.
That's real.
That is real. That is the fancy word for cycling that is still attached to every Olympic medal that goes to women's cycling. Apparently, Jimmy, this event, the Keirin, is where a motorized pace car will go around the velodrome, right? And then at a time unknown to all the riders, it will duck out of the course, and then it is a mad sprint to the end. So apparently it's just chaos. If you guys see on your Peacock app that the Keirin event is happening, check it out. It is madness. That is a real event. All right. That is a real event. So, Jimmy, it's your turn, correct? Chris just got that correct?
Yes.
All right. Jimmy, men's modern pentathlon.
It's real.
That is real. Jimmy, you got it correct. That is real. For bonus points, Jimmy, can you tell me the 5 sports that make up the current men's modern pentathlon?
There's 5?
Yes, pentathlon, Jimmy.
Pen means 5 or tathlon means 5?
Yes, tathlon means 5. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Tathlon.
Let's do the long jump.
No, it is not a track and field thing. Chris, you care to take a shot? 5 sports that make up men's modern pentathlon.
So the steeplechase isn't in there?
No, it's not track and field.
Oh, don't.
How about this? Fencing, swimming, horse riding, pistol shooting, and cross country running. That
And
is
you
your
make fun of
men's-
me for mountain bike biathlon and it's pistols. Okay.
It's a real event. I'm telling you.
Hey, I got it
Whose
right.
turn is it?
It's Chris's because I got the last one right.
All right, Chris, your turn. Real or fake event? Women's doubles sculls.
That's real.
That is real. Sculls is the fancy word for rowing. Chris, I believe, has not gotten one wrong. Is that correct? See, he's
Again,
dominating you,
plus
Jimmy.
2. I should
Jimmy.
have been plus 2.
Real or fake Olympic event? Sand dune skiing.
That better be fake.
Sand dune skiing.
It's a fake
Jimmy
event.
says fake. Fake Olympic event is correct. Sand dune
Thank
skiing
God.
is fake. Chris.
This is pressure, man. I miss one. It's over.
Chris, this thing was brought up just a minute ago. I ask you, real or fake Olympic event? Men's synchronized steeplechase.
That's fake.
That is fake. I would love to see it, though. Jimmy, real or fake Olympic event? Men's BMX freestyle.
That is a real event.
That is correct. Chris, real or fake Olympic event? Combined bouldering and speed.
That's fake.
No, that is real.
That's real. Yeah,
That's
let's
climbing.
go!
That's a mountain climbing event right there. Chris gets his first one wrong. Jimmy, real or fake Olympic event? Rollerblade,
Oh.
rollerblade sprint hurdles.
Rollerblade sprint hurdles. Is this 1997?
Is it a real or fake Olympic event?
Chris, I was going good there, Chris, for about 10 seconds. I had it. That is going to be a fake event.
That is correct. It is a fake Olympic event. Chris, real or fake Olympic event? Women's rugby sevens.
That's real.
That is real. There are fewer players and fewer time to the game for the women's rugby sevens, but that is apparently a real Olympic event. Jimmy, real or fake Olympic event? Men's kayak polo.
Fake event.
That is a fake event.
Yeah.
Chris, real or fake Olympic event? Women's rhythmic badminton.
That's fake.
That is fake. Jimmy, real or fake Olympic event? Drone racing obstacle course.
Get the hell out of here. Fake.
That is fake.
Okay, good. I really thought that might have been real, and I was going to go off.
Chris, men's park skateboarding. Real or fake Olympic event?
Men's park skateboarding.
Pressure's getting me, isn't it?
I think it's street, not park. So I'm going to say this men's park skateboarding is fake.
It is real. You talked yourself
Ah.
out of it. There's two different skateboarding. There's freestyle,
Ah.
and there's park, and there's street. So, Chris, I believe, Jimmy, are we now back to tied here?
I think so.
Okay. I've got
I'm good. I'm good right now.
I've got one. I think I only have one left, and this is it, Jimmy. This is it right here. Is this a real or fake Olympic event? Mixed doubles synchronized archery.
There are
Real
so many
or
words in
fake?
there.
Olympic event. Yeah, but then have you ever seen some of the finals that are written across? That certainly doesn't give anything away. There's, 500-meter freestyle. I mean, there's things written across all over.
That
the
is a
place.
fake event.
That is a fake event. That is a fake event. So there you have it. Real or fake Olympic event. What do you guys think of the two games that we cooked up for Balls and Brew?
I love it because I won the second one.
That was a tie.
What are you talking about? I got more questions right than you did.
If it was the same amount of questions, we had the same number wrong.
Whatever.
The only question I have is, will I be able to tune into the men's modern pentathlon? Because I really think I am into that. I mean,
Hey,
I don't know
Chris,
what
how
kind
cool-
of pistol shooting we're doing. Do we do that after the swimming? Do we do that after the fencing? Do we fence only if certain people weren't taken out during the pistol shooting? I don't know,
Pistol
but I want to
shooting.
find out.
Well, it's got to be separate events, just like a triathlon. Well, not like a triathlon, but like the decathlon. It's the events are separated by time in between things, right? Like
Well, that's not what-
you're not gonna jump from fencing and then go right
In
to
the pool.
swim.
Yep.
I have no idea though when you say it's like a triathlon, Chris, because I will quote the great Kenny Powers here. I play real sports. I'm not trying to be the best at exercising. Jimmy, do you want to run the fast break? There is a little bit of basketball we could talk about, but that's up to you. Or we can just close out this portion of TMYK and move on to the wildly popular wrestling podcast. It's up to you, my friend.
Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest about 15 seconds in the NBA. Rod, Chris, what do you want to talk about today, Rod?
I would like to talk about Jalen Brunson. All right. It'd be easy for me to say the Olympic, but I want to talk about Jalen Brunson right here and right now. And I think the Jalen Brunson scenario is going to be something we're going to see more. I'm not telling you that $113 million is going to be left on the table for all players, but I think some of the talking points and some of the things that are bubbling out of Jalen Brunson's new contract with the Knicks is we're going to see owners basically finally being able to turn around and say to the players, well, hey, our hands are tied. If you want all of these things to be able to happen on the team, guess what we can't do? Pay you all of this money, get to the second apron, and then we're completely frozen and eliminated from being able to do everything. So I think Jalen Brunson just got ahead of it. I think we can't leave out the fact that he understands this is his godfather, literally, who is running the team. His father literally is an assistant coach on the team. And Tom Thibodeau, the coach, knew him when he was a kid. So like he literally feels family there and probably has a little bit more trust than other players will have with management. But I just think that this is going to be pressure we're going to see put on a lot of other people, Jimmy. So that's the basketball topic I had in mind.
Chris, as someone who kind of lives by the moniker, if you've got money, take money. I'm assuming you're kind of against this because you're never getting that money back, ever. This might be the only opportunity you had to get all the money. So I guess it kind of depends on what your philosophy is. Do you want to win? You want to have fun? Or do you want to get paid? What do you want to do, Chris?
In my scenario as an old guy, I'm ring chasing. All right. Like that's what I'm doing. I'm ring chasing. All right. And Rod's not wrong. If Jalen feels comfortable in New York, feels like he can trust everybody there with his dad, his godfather, and Tom, like that's like Rod said, like his family, then what's to stop him from making this deal and to say, I want to stay here. I want to win a championship with my family. I'm going to do everything I can to help us move in that direction. And if it's me signing an extension where it's not a max deal, but I'm still making 30 mil a year and I can win championships with this team we have, which is a good team. Like if they are healthy in the playoffs next year, this is a team that can take down Boston. It really is. And really give Milwaukee and anybody else from the East that wants to try to run at them a tough series.
Couldn't you also see this as like it's just an extension almost of the player empowerment here, Jim, where it's like when you're a player and you take this much less and you give the power to management, and then everybody, because of how much information is out there for us, knows that you gave the power to management. Like you don't bring in other good players, you don't make the trades, the team fails, it's on you, right? Then the player gets to be like, hey, I gave you all the space under the apron to do this stuff and you did nothing. So it's like, in a weird way, Jimmy, I think it's like the guys, because they can make so much money, are taking the power back by taking less, which I agree with you on. Its face sounds crazy, but it's kind of how the power shifted.
How much love did we see get heaped on the Tom Brady year after year after year because he didn't take a max deal? He restructured his deal so they could get better in other areas. Like we always heard that about Tom Brady, and now for some reason it's wrong for Jalen Brunson to do this.
No, I don't. I think what Brady made a mistake. Brunson was smart here. He waited till they got the players, then did that. Well, Brady said, "Oh, here, I'll take it now. You'll get me the players." And obviously, management isn't going to do that. Now, we do have to wait and see for the other extensions to come up to see if those players take less money as well, because that's the only way it's going to work. What happens if when Bridges comes up, he takes a bigger extension?
He's going to have to go all the way to free agency to pull it off, though, Jim, because of the lower number that he's at right now.
Yeah.
So I think what you said there, right, is like Brunson sort of being the first domino. Like, hey, guys, I tipped the dominoes down this way. So, Mikhail, it's on you to just sign the restructure and not go to free agency, because he goes to free agency, he's out, right? And Chris, I think what this does is it sends a message to your boy Julius, right? I think what the Knicks are saying to him with this contract is, hey, Julius, you want to play ball with us. You want to understand that you're going to have a little diminished role on this team and that we got to come down on your number per year. We'll give you a 4-year deal, a 3-year extension, what have you, but the numbers got to come down. And if your guy Julius takes the Knicks to the mattresses, to borrow a New York phrase, Chris, he might be out of there.
Yeah, but like it's not like when it was when Randall played for LA, like he's not young anymore. He is the same type of thing. He's been the hardest worker for New York the past 4 years, right? He's been the rock that they've been building under. He probably has as much invested in this team as Brunson does right now. And I guarantee that he's going to want to win a championship with them. And like, if that's him staying, around that 25 to 30 mil a year mark, why wouldn't he accept that and continue to build with this team? I mean, they're building it around him, so now he won't have to play 42 minutes a night. So,
well, I mean,
he still will, though.
They're building it around Villanova, to be honest, Chris, but they're allowing Julius to stay.
Yeah, and I just, ego is a tough thing, too. Julius Randle's gone from the number one guy 2 years ago, to now third, fourth.
He's been through this before, all right? You go from being number one guy, AAU, and then get to Kentucky, and you're still the number one guy. Then you come into the league and go to LA and become an afterthought. Like,
yeah, afterthought.
But he's been through this, so he knows how to deal with it, and he fought his way back to become a number one guy again. So, like, he knows what he's capable of. I think that that's something that is humbling to a player like Randall, who has had to fight to go from being on top to being an afterthought to being back on top. He's like, okay, like, I don't necessarily need to be here for us to be successful.
And that is going to do it for the NBA Fast Break this week. On Balls and Brew, we talked baseball, which is weird. We talked Olympics, which only happens every 4 years. And then we talked basketball with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris.
And don't worry, we're going to make Jimmy do 1 or 2 more fast breaks talking about the U.S. men's Olympic team as we go along here in the next weeks. But let's let them get out of group stages, figure out how that's going to go, and then we'll talk about the boys in the red, white, and blue.
Goodbye, Nat.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. In the ring with Jimmy, Rod, and Chris. Chris, give me an old man take. Whoa.
There needs to be another investigation. All right. And this needs to be an investigation into whatever secret union Adam Pearce has with the refs of Monday Night Raw, because it's apparent that there is some sort of backroom shenanigans going on where we get to suspend Drew McIntyre for nothing, whereas CM Punk gets to get referee uniforms from referees, and then Drew has to apologize to them. I mean, it is just insane. I feel like we're in a bizarro world, and I'm going to call for Adam Pearce's head again. All right, like let's get it done. All right, he is completely out of control, and it is taking Raw down a road we don't want to see.
Jimmy, hold on. Give me this. Now,
yeah,
Chris is McIntyred of it, Jimmy. He is McIntyred of it.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know. No, we should have ended it there. That's never again. Don't worry, Drew McIntyre's suspension is over, right? So we're okay on that. But Rod, what are you hot about tonight?
Jimmy, I'm going to give you something that I'm hot about that you are going to be completely surprised at. I am hot at the character we are building in El Campeon, in the character we are building in Damian Priest, in the long-term storytelling that is paying off with plucking Damian Priest from obscurity by Edge, who doesn't even wrestle in the company anymore,
Mhm.
and crafting him into this, and then Finn joining and the tag team champion, and then being the leader with Rhea Ripley gone, and now an interaction with Gunther. Damian Priest is becoming a babyface, and he's becoming a character that gives me something to cheer about. He's funny when he wants to be. He's menacing when he wants to be. He's tall. He's charismatic. I did not see this coming from Damian Priest, and I'm hot about the possibilities because we need stars, and Damian Priest is maybe becoming one, Jim.
Chris, I really like the fact that they did a good in-ring segment interview-wise, and then they had him beat Braun Strowman, which is not someone to take lightly. He's not someone's going to get hurt by the loss, but it will help Priest with that win a lot, Chris.
That was nothing but a bigger coming out party for Priest, right? I mean, we saw all his chops on Monday Night Raw. Backstage promos with Dom, with Rhea, in-ring promos with Gunther, in-ring action with Gunther after taking care of one big old SOB. All right, so like it was a coming out party. Like I was curious. I am happy that the Gunther has came out and they're really pushing heel on him, which makes me think that maybe they're going to give him the belt come SummerSlam. I don't know. I like this angle with Damian Priest, all right? Here we have Judgment Day, a faction we love to hate, but their two best wrestlers in that faction are becoming baby faces. You got Rhea and Damian Priest getting huge pops, and then you have everybody still booing Dirty Dom, Finn, and everybody else.
I can't believe we're bearing the lead here that Pete Dunne and Sheamus are going to kill each other in the ring here in the next couple of weeks. If you want to see a hard-hitting, amazing matchup, that's going to be it. Sheamus will be bloodied with all the chops. Pete Dunne might get killed for all we know. That is going to be a terrific matchup. And how dare you, Rod, not bring that up first?
I was excited to see the bare-knuckled brawler himself, the former Butch, our guy, Pete Dunne. It was nice to see him back. Missed Tyler Bate, right? Missed the big strong boy. Always enjoy seeing the Tyler Bate out there.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Was a little worried that he might not be with the WWE anymore. Is that the case, Jim?
I believe he's hurt.
He's just hurt. Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Hopefully the big strong boy comes back. But we need something for Pete Dunne to do. We need something for Sheamus to do other than fight Big Bronson Reed, and he's clearly not going to be involved in the Braun Breaker. See, there's too many Brauns. They're not going to be in the Braun Breaker deal. So I like it. Let's get Dunne and Sheamus beating each other because I'm a fan of these great matches that we're getting right now. And we're going to talk about another one that I'm a little bummed out got completely wiped away because you could have held this for a while for me, but we'll get there.
Has to get wiped away there. Rod, let's go back to you real quick, and then we'll go to Chris. Rhea Ripley comes back, kind of forgives Dom. What are you liking this? The way this is going right now?
I like the way it's going. Let me start there, but it's like I'm kind of slapping myself around the face a little bit and being like, "Duh! How did I not see it going this way?" Right? Like Liv's making it even more obvious that she was just playing Dominic the whole time. And Rhea's basically playing upon the fact that, what do you mean I'm yours? I've never been yours. You're mine. You know what I mean? So like, of course, that's the way that Rhea's going to play it. So I didn't really like the whole, this is just about Liv and I'm going to deal with Dom later. I thought that was stupid because like, that's not any way, shape or form how a relationship would be able to be handled. Right. I mean, like, come on, there's no way that we're going to be able to, Jimmy, you and I, we're going to be in the kitchen and be like, hey, you know what, honey? I know you got this big thing going on right now, but let's just table that for about 45 minutes to an hour and 15 to do something else, and then we'll get back to it. Like that's ridiculous. There's no way that was going to be possible.
Chris, you've done that a lot in your past relationships. That's worked out well, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm single today.
Yeah. Oh. Chris,
I set all that up. And you guys all knocked them down. We've been podcasting long together. I appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
Chris, are you buying the Rhea Ripley Dominic?
Yeah, if I bought it at the beginning, I gotta buy it now. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what it is. All right, let's be fair and maybe a little bit more PG-13 here. But Dom's a cuck. All right, we know this. He belongs to Rhea. Rhea can do whatever she wants, and Dom's gonna follow her around because Mommy's always on top.
I have another question for you guys. Can we now start referring to her as Rhea and the girls? Because Rhea and the girls really kind of who made the first appearance on Monday Night Raw last night. There was not a lot that Rhea was wearing on the top part of her torso. Okay. Now I understand that was probably more to show off her incredible guns and her huge
I was going to say that
shoulders
could be used
and
in a
all
lot
of
of
that.
different ways, Rod.
But let's just also be honest that was the most the girls of Rhea have ever been up on Front Street on Monday Night Raw, and she was on camera for like the first 35 minutes of Raw. So it was like, hey, I'm Rhea, and I'm back, and I brought the girls with me. We're just getting the attention in all the ways that we can.
Well, we wanted to get cheered, right?
That's what I'm saying. Use all the tools in the arsenal. This is professional wrestling, all right? We're putting on a show.
I mean, Raw needed her back. Let's be fair. Raw desperately needed her back because there wasn't any kind of real story.
Sonya Deville, you mean, or Rhea? Because Rod's girl's back as well. Sonya's good on the mic. She's decent in the ring. She's going to have a lot of ring rust, though, for sure. So she's going to have to come back and work a lot.
But, Jimmy, there's been some talk from actual WWE employees, women WWE employees, of the need for a women's mid-card. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We have the kind of storyline developing right now where the end of all of this could be a women's mid-card championship.
I would love to see that. They should have had the mid-card championship 5 years ago. They've had enough people. They've had the stars to do it.
But if we had a tournament right now, right? Like if we had a tournament right now, like Zelina Vega, if her arm wasn't actually completely broken out of its socket, right? And the three, Baszler, DeVille, and they were in it, right? Valkyria could be in there. You know what I mean? You could put Roxanne Perez
Natty.
in there. You know what I mean? Yeah, Natty could be in there who just re-signed, right? You could put like 8 people in that tournament, and whoever comes out on top wins that. Chris, you love tournaments. Come on. We'd all love that.
Yeah, we need a women's U.S. title for sure. There's no reason not to have it. You have a plethora of great female wrestlers, and you have all of them fighting over essentially 4 belts, you know, if you include the tags. So like
which we shouldn't, because the tag team belts have been on TV one time since they friggin' won it. One time, Jim. I understand they did their thing in Mexico City and they do many house shows, but the women's tag team belts have been on TV once and they're the champions.
So we have 3 more things to talk about from this past Monday. We have a Bloodline segment I'd like to talk a little bit about too. Let's go to Bo Dallas, Chad Gable. Interesting segment, I thought. Bo Dallas himself comes out, gets jumped by the Creed, your boys, Rod.
White Six love the Creeds in the suits, by the way, right? Love the Creeds in the suits. You know what did we do to the Street Profits, Chris, when we wanted to make people take the Street Profits a little more serious? We put them in suits for a little while. So we're putting the Creed brothers in suits. What did we do with Solo Sikoa when we wanted people to take him a little more serious? We put him in a suit, right? Cody Rhodes, everybody's poster boy, wears a suit every week. So I love seeing the Creed brothers in suits.
Chris, I thought the segment was mixing the two, the supernatural and the real, together. Having the White Six come out and help Bo Dallas, and then kind of end the segment with them doing the with the Slipknot cover pose or whatever. I believe that's what it was called. Look at me knowing music. I like the segment overall. Let's just keep building and see where it goes. But eventually, Chris, someone has to wrestle.
Hey, listen. I didn't have to wait near as long to see somebody take a bump on this build-up than I did the last, what I'm going to consider the same type of thing when Bray Wyatt was making his comeback. I felt like I was waiting for 6 months to see him get into the ring and do anything, whether it be take a bump or do a promo. So I didn't have to wait quite that long, about a month from the first VHS tape to seeing him taking a bump in the ring. All right. That's pretty good.
And speaking of long, Jimmy, you said it. We want to see the rest of the Wyatt Six do those videos, but they don't have to be quite that long. Aaron Rowan was kind of repeating himself, kind of droning on there. Like we sort of got the point. Like we can cut down the other videos by about 15 to 20 seconds if we need to.
Yeah, I do like where they're going with that. It was a little long, but also really, I mean, and it's weird because as I believe Bully Ray said, everything he said could be real. Like it really could be what he's feeling, and they're really erasing that line between sports entertainment and reality here. Speaking about sports entertainment, we have Drew McIntyre, who's suspended but yet allowed on the show again to apologize, does not apologize, gets extended this suspension, which he'll come on next week and they'll apologize again. My question to you, Rod, is: are we doing a triple threat at Mania or at SummerSlam?
I think so. I mean, I was
Yeah.
going to say, are we just going to skip this whole segment without saying that my guy, Seth Rollins, came out to save Raw, came out to save the general manager of Raw, came out to save the show, make sure that the wheels could stay on the track from the crazed demon that is Drew McIntyre, that is just running roughshod on everybody? Hey, Drew, my guy, I have a t-shirt. Okay. So I'm your true fan here on the podcast, not this guy in the upper right-hand corner. All right. We've been after him forever to get you a t-shirt. I have the first Drew McIntyre shirt of anybody on this podcast, so you need to listen to me. Drew, we've all had things not go our way. All right, bud? You need to get over it. You need to stop blaming everybody else for your problems. You need to stop hulking out. You need to stop throwing your elbows around and punching your boss in the face by accident. All right. You're not going to get what you want acting like a fool, Drew. When you calm down, you can get CM Punk in the ring if he can be medically cleared. And that in and of itself seems to be a miracle to me because he continues to not be on television fighting people.
I will say it is nice again to see Rod acknowledge that Drew McIntyre is the real wrestler on that shirt and not the other guy. I believe his name is Rollins, somebody or other that's also on the shirt. It's nice to hear Rod acknowledge that and to really show his true loyalties is with Drew and not Seth.
That's a really good transition to acknowledging the bloodline from SmackDown, but we do need to hit the main event of Raw real quick. So thank you, Chris. We'll go to that bloodline on SmackDown. Dragunov and Zayn, Rod. Let's have you get hot on this for a minute here.
Just don't give me this match at the end of Raw when we're gonna have a commercial break and we've already had the Wyatt Six take up too much time doing their thing, right? Bo Dallas could have laughed 7 less times and it would have been just as effective. Eric Rowan could have talked for 30 seconds less and it would have been effective. We could have done 7 seconds less on the Slipknot pose. We could have done a little bit less smoke. They could have gotten to the ring a little quicker. All of these things add up to giving more time to what the whole thing is supposed to be about: wrestling. I say all the time, it's wrestling for the form of entertainment, but ultimately, if we don't have wrestling, what do we have? So when you have two guys like Dragunov and Sammy who are going to go into the ring and lay it on the line better than anybody else out there, technical skill, storytelling, getting the crowd to buy in, absolute edge of your seat thinking a guy's down, guy coming back out of nowhere to win. Dragunov and Sammy can do it better than anyone in the building, and you peed all over the match. You made a commercial break in the middle. You told us before it even happened that Braun Breaker was going to break it up, and sure enough, he came out and broke it up. And I guess, Jimmy, you tell me all the time that this just helps build a heat, and they'll be able to tell in the story the next time they get together, the last time the match was broken up. But I think we would have gotten better served by holding this, telling the story a little bit more, turning the dial a little bit more, playing up the respect angle that we saw out of the two before they then got in the ring. I was disappointed that we already had Sammy and Dragunov in a match.
I don't like doing first matches like this. You could have put Sammy in with it. You could have put him with Jey Uso, and that would have been fine. And this could have been the exact same result. You could have put him in with a ton of people, would have been the same result. But we've seen this over and over again. And so if McIntyre's suspended, now Braun Breaker's going to be suspended. Like where does this end, Chris? Where does this end?
With an investigation to Adam Pearce and how he's running Raw. You knew what you were asking of me, all right? Like, you're going to come and ask me what they should do with Adam Pearce. Like, I have lost all faith. Like, I have lost complete faith in what he can do. Like, so no. And it's obvious, too, because that was definitely a match that you knew as soon as Sammy and him cut that promo, you're like, this is the main event tonight. This is a great Raw already. Because I know there's going to be this great match. I know what these guys can do, and now I get to see it do them to each other. It's going to be a great match. And like Rod said, they peed all over it, made it too short, gave us a schmaz ending that doesn't help anybody except for Braun Breaker, apparently, because you have a real match with Sammy and Dragunov, and you have Sammy retain it, but it's a ball to the wall match. Like, they're giving their all. They're coming out and they're exhausted, and there's that respect angle. That's how it should have ended. That would have been great. You had so many more chance during the match than what they gave them at actual time for. They really messed that up.
They did. Something they're not
Dragunov's
messing up.
nowhere. Dragunov's nowhere, Jimmy. I'm sorry, but he's nowhere right now. I love the guy to death, and he's getting pops because everybody can see how good he is, but he's nowhere. They're telling no story with him, and they're about to completely lose any thread they sort of had going with him.
But he's good in ring worker. He can always get the pops. It'll be okay. You can't have every single person winning every match.
You're making him become Shinsuke Nakamura then, Jim. You're making him become Shinsuke Nakamura is what you're doing. And that's fine. It's a great career, and you'll get pops, but I just want so much better for the guy.
Speaking of pops, Bloodline is just destroying Cody Rhodes. They killed Cody Rhodes and gave a triple power bomb to Randy Orton. So we have 4 Bloodline members. We have Orton. We have Rhodes. We have Kevin Owens, who's got some family stuff going on. When is he coming back, Rod?
Yeah, I think we're right for a return here at SummerSlam, but let's not forget that return could be an Uso before it is a Reigns. I think there is a very good chance that we could see a Jimmy Uso thrown back into this mix before we get a Roman Reigns. But I thought Rhea Ripley would be the SummerSlam return. Okay.
Yeah.
We see a lot of SummerSlam clips start to be shown on the X, wrestling recycling accounts and the Facebook recycling accounts, and Peacock will churn up best SummerSlam events. And what you notice, Jim, is SummerSlam is definitely a place ripe for returns. Becky Lynch returned at SummerSlam. Bayley returned at SummerSlam. John Cena showed up at the end of a SummerSlam one time to announce himself to Roman Reigns.
I know where this is going.
I think we're definitely going to get somebody, but I don't know if it's going to be Roman Reigns. I think it might be Jimmy Uso. That's what I think, Jim. But it's definitely prime for it to be Roman, because you're right. Somebody's going to have to come back to even those odds for Randy and Cody, and who better than the man the fans have been chanting for weeks now.
What do you think, Chris?
I don't like the Bloodline. I don't think that's a secret. I mean, I definitely never wanted to acknowledge Roman Reigns. Definitely don't want to acknowledge Solo Sikoa. There's only one person I really can acknowledge as the tribal chief.
Tua Tagovailoa.
That is Chief Littlefoot of the Micro League Wrestling Federation. That's the true tribal chief, and that's the only one I'll ever acknowledge. That being said, I don't know if I want to see Jimmy Uso come back. I do kind of like this story with Solo and the crazy guys, that's a little btle bit unpredictable. Like, that's a little bit more of an interesting story to me.
Print that t-shirt right now, Solo and the crazy guys.
Or Solo and the Psycho Boys, whatever you want to call them.
Ooh.
I do find it a little bit more interesting than the Bloodline we had a year and a half ago.
4 straight Bloodline headlined at SummerSlam, Jimmy. 4 straight where the Bloodline has been involved, because you had Roman v. Lesnar, Roman v. Cena, Roman v. Jimmy, and now Cody v. Solo. 4 straight SummerSlams headlined by the Bloodline. Speaking to what Chris always talks about, he's sick of the Bloodline, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows Podcast Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Chad Gable, I love seeing you in a suit. All right, my man, but stop weaseling out of the ring and leaving my guys, the Creed brothers, to mess up your stuff with the Wyatt Six. All right, you brought this on yourself, Chad. I've tried to support you for the longest time, but the way that you treated Otis and Maxine and Tozawa deserves to be taken down by the Wyatt Six. Don't involve my guys, the Creed brothers, Chad Gable. I'm watching you.
Goodbye, Net. Yeah.